We're all rocking out the air guitar to the intro, the new intro that Chris McCullough came up with. I like that. Okay, Nick, so we're going to speed through this just a little bit, but tell people, first of all, if you want to become an official, and again, the need is especially for baseball and softball right now, but any sport that you cover, which is volleyball, basketball, football, wrestling, right? Mm-hmm. And
soccer.
Baseball, softball, and soccer.
Right.
You can contact the KCOA. That's kcoa.org.
Correct. KCOA.org, and the phone number, and I got to put my glasses on, if you want to call, is 633-3559. And there'll be a voice machine there, and you can leave a message, and somebody will call you back.
To become a referee, find out how the other side lives, make yourself a little bit of extra money, and have some fun. Go out and run around outside with some kids.
Right. The problem, and I appreciate your plug for baseball and softball, we're too late for baseball and softball. So I'm here just because of the critical situation. So what I'm really here to say, other than what we've said already, which is
let's try not to make any more of these guys quit, guys.
Exactly,
and gals.
That's the key, is we need people to stay around, and so some of the things I always tell people as fans and also coaches is don't expect more of an umpire than the level of play that you're playing. You have to understand where you're at. A lot of coaches, and there's people that like me and there's people that don't. I'm not afraid to speak my mind. The good thing is I'm out of officiating. I had my fun, and I really don't interact with a lot of these coaches and stuff. But you get a lot of freshman coaches. They think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and they're really not. And they think intimidation is going to help them, and it will to some degree because of the fact that the umpires or sports officials are new, and they can literally intimidate what they do. So as a coach, first of all, be respectful of the official. If a guy kicks a call, you may want to go out and ask him. It's going to be what I call a learning experience. You don't need to chew him up, spit him out.
These guys, he probably knows he missed the call in most cases.
A lot of times, and there's reasons. One of the main reasons people rush the call. There's, I won't get into all those things, but it's a situation where you need to be respectful. I mean, we don't go up to coaches and say, say in football where you ran from the 10 at one end all the way down to the 10, and then you threw 3 passes and you had to kick a field goal. We go, man, that was dumb. What were you thinking, Coach? We don't do that, and they got to learn.
Maybe you should. Maybe that would help.
I doubt it, but we need to have coaches specifically be more respectful of the officials. You need them. Whether you like them or not, whether you think they're the worst things in the world, and there are people out there, I just don't get this, that just think referees and officials are absolute crap. And we're human beings. We're just like anybody else. We've got doctors. We've got lawyers. The new judge that just got sworn in is a football official. The second in command at the DA's office.
Well, we know he can't be fair then.
Well, no, of course not. But we've got a lot of professional people that are involved in sports officiating, and they're not going to screw something up because they are wanting to do that. And you need to be respectful of that. The other thing is the fans, and that's probably who we'd reach most, because coaches will probably hear about my talk here probably tomorrow when somebody complains, and that's fine if it gets them to think about it. But the parents need to be respectful too. If you have a bad game as an official, you have a bad game. I've had many bad games in football, in baseball and softball. Many. Just like when you're a batter, sometimes you go 5 for 5 and sometimes you're 0 forever. When you come off a diamond, if you had a good game or not.
Right.
But still, go up to that umpire and say, hey, thanks for being here. You did a good job.
Treat them like humans.
Treat them like humans.
And that goes for the players, too, by the way.
Exactly.
Players, coaches, and fans. So,
exactly.
And one thing you've told me, Nick, and this will segue us into getting into some basketball brackets, but officials, hey, they get into the game, too.
Sure.
They get up for the big games, and sometimes if it's a dreary game, if it's, like you said, if it's poorly played, it's harder to get the official into the game. So,
sure.
Speaking of big games, here's some basketball brackets for you. These are... We're going to start with the boys. Okay, this is tomorrow.
We're going to go all the way through.
All right. This is tomorrow night then.
Yep.
These games you see that are farthest out, they're Clovis West versus Liberty and Central versus Bullard. Central really kind of messed around with Clovis for 3 quarters last night before they put them away. And then Liberty and Clovis East, a very entertaining game, Trevor, that the Patriots win.
Patriots, I mean, they had their A game going on. They've missed a few bunnies here and there, but they were finding breakaway shots all night long. They were able to get behind Clovis East's defense, and it was either Jordan Love, who came off the bench for 20 points. Of course, Braylon Scott, who scored 14 of 15 points there in the second half. But, I mean,
that's not going to happen against Clovis West.
No, it is not going to happen, but, they're going to have to rely on that, on that guard play, that heavy guard play, and ability to find the open player in a half-court offense. So they'll have to switch it up. It won't be the same thing that you saw last night that we'll see tomorrow night against Clovis West.
And then Central against Bullard in the other quarterfinal. Bottom half of the bracket here in Bakersfield, Centennial opening its playoff run against Clovis North. All that complaining about Stockdale's seed. We had them on last week. Turned out they did get wronged again in the seeding process. They should not have been an 11 in my book, or I don't think anybody else.
There's no way they should have been.
Yeah, except for the guys who actually did it. But you know what? Bottom line is they went out there and they didn't prove anybody wrong. I don't know if that was because of the seeding or if it's just they already won at Clovis North this year. It's really difficult to do that twice in a year. They probably should not have had to do that twice, but they did, and they were not able to do it. So it'll be Clovis North at Centennial. And then I'll tell you the team that I've been really impressed with in the last couple of weeks is the Bakersfield Drillers, who took care of Buchanan in an easy fashion last night.
I saw them play in their first game
Edison
against, who was it, Knight of
Palmdale.
Palmdale. Yeah. And that team that played on December 1st is nowhere close to what this team is playing like now.
When Jared Matthews is on in his rebounding game, he's making inside shots. Ronnie Stapp's finding him from the outside. They've got some other pieces, Jeremiah Dickerson, Xavier Esquivel, very good guards. That team is difficult to deal with. Speaking of difficult to deal with, though, Edison is about the biggest, fastest, strongest team around. So that's going to be an interesting matchup there as well up in Fresno. Okay, Division II, Mission Oak, the top seed. They will open up against Monache, which beats El Diamante. We have, in football, it's called the Pig Game. I don't know if they call it that in basketball, but it's Fresno High against Roosevelt High. They just played to finish up the season. Bottom half of the bracket, we have Ridgeview, which really coasted past Garces. They will take on Sunnyside. That's a very interesting, should be very competitive quarterfinal. And then Lemoore Hanford, again, just like Fresno Roosevelt. What great rivalry games we have in the quarters here in D2.
I'm almost certain that Ridgeview beat Sunnyside in the Visalia tournament.
I know they beat Roosevelt. I don't know about
Roosevelt,
Sunnyside.
sorry, but I know Sunnyside played.
Yeah, and Roosevelt is up in the top half of that bracket. In Division III, West High, number one. All 16 teams had to play a first-round game. West High, an easy winner. Frontier won on the road and beat North, so they get the Vikings next. Cesar Chavez at Selma. That'll be a good one. Bottom half of the bracket, we have Tehachapi took care of CVC easily. They will host Washington Union. Golden Valley, a winner on the road over South, and they are at Porterville on Friday. In Division IV, Emmanuel, everybody's favorite, number one team in the section, playing down in D4. Well, McFarland, you won on the road, and now your reward is to go to Reedley.
It's a heck of a week for McFarland High School. They got both of their boys and girls soccer teams in the finals tomorrow night.
But both basketball teams still alive, and it's the week the movie came out.
Exactly. That's a big week for McFarland. Congratulations.
Sierra Pacific, that was an upset, a 12 over a 5. They go to Kingsburg next. BCHS Taft, an all-SSL quarterfinal there with Taft pulling the 11 over 6 upset up at Fowler. And a third SSL team in this half is Kennedy. They will play host to Granite Hills. So it certainly looks like, if you look at those quarters with 3 Kern County teams, one of those Kern County teams looks like they will get Emmanuel and Selland Arena in the D4 final on Saturday afternoon. In Division 5, Carruthers against Riverdale, and then it's Fresno Christian at Liberty Madera. And Cal City, now these High Desert League teams will be on the road, even though they're the higher seeds. Cal City at Sierra.
That's going to be a trek.
And, yeah, no doubt. And Kern Valley at Tranquility. Now, the girls, these are tonight's games. Our man Steve Lynch is going to be out at Garces. They are hosting Clovis High. And then Bullard is at Edison. That should be a really good one, a rivalry game, a CMAC conference game. Any chance Garces does not come out of the top half of this bracket in your book, Trevor?
I don't see it.
Would you bet your hair on it?
I already have.
I know. Bottom half of the bracket, and this is where I think that your hair could be at a little bit of risk. Clovis West has Hanford. That's a tricky game. I mean, that's a game that's
their
been
sophomore guard
game.
is just lights out.
Sue Malong, what's her first name? Janae? Anyway, Hanford at Clovis West, that's a great game to watch tonight. And Centennial at Clovis North, I'll tell you what, that's going to be a barn burner as well. Division II, Independence, the top seed. They get into action tonight hosting Lemoore. Selma is at Yosemite. Then in the bottom half of the bracket, we have Redwood hosting Monache, and BHS, speaking of long treks, goes up to Sierra. In Division 3, we have Fresno High. They took care of Foothill in actually a fairly close game for a while. They'll play Exeter. Delano, the number 13 seed, pulled the upset. They are at Sanger tonight, trying to pull another upset. And all Kern County battle, North hosting Arvin, and then it is Golden West at number 2 seed, Mission Oak. In D4, we have Erosi as the 1 seed. West High there is hosting Porterville tonight. Taft, another all Kern County battle, host McFarland. There's the Cougars again. Yep. And it's Washington Union at Emmanuel. And then in D5, Carruthers, the 1 seed. You see Kern Valley, the 4 seed, but again on the road, and another really long road trip up to Minarets from one set of mountains to the other.
Well, we can't forget Paramount's a Kern County team also.
Yeah, that's right.
The
Paramount is as well.
School.
Bakersfield Christian is the number 2 seed here. Frank Thiessen, the legend, coaching the Eagles, trying to get him to Selland Arena. That would be on Friday afternoon of next week. So, Nick, thanks for joining us. We got to go to a break. We're coming back with Liberty High boys soccer right after this.